Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Redskins Talk TV. This is your host, Dre. Now, as you see, I'm not wearing a Redskins shirt, wearing a hat, which something I rarely do. I don't really like to wear hats, but I always try to wear something Redskins. Not really superstitious, I don't think, because I'm wearing this that we're going to pull out a victory. You see our season record, so obviously that's not working. But all the same, I've got to support my team because I love the burgundy and gold. Living down here in South Texas, all I got to do is flip up a middle finger, which I'm not going to do for the camera, but I will say fuck the Cowboys. Anyway, we're going up against the 1-7 Minnesota Vikings. We got them tomorrow night, Thursday Night Football. I'm going to be off. I'm going to be enjoying the game. I'm only going to tell my wife, if you're going to be home, just don't talk to me. You can always go and do something, go to the library, go visit your family, but when the game is on, I don't want to answer any questions. Pretend like we're not married. Pretend like I don't exist. Anyway. We are at 3-5. We need to improve to 4-5, and then we got the Eagles. We got that second game. Hopefully, we can avenge the first game loss. But my assessment for beating the Minnesota Vikings, we have to be able to contain the run. When you think of the Minnesota Vikings, the name that's synonymous with that team, that franchise, is Adrian Peterson. One heck of a running back, fast, strong. He's got this ugly ass stiff arms, so if he has to go one-on-one against our defensive backs and they take a bad angle, it's going to be one of those highlight reels that's going to make our team look bad. And we really don't need that given our record. But don't let the 1-7 record for the Minnesota Vikings fool you, because most of their games have been close. There's only one that they really got shut out, but they've pretty much been in every game. It's a really close game. They fought it tough against the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys don't have the greatest defense. Adrian Peterson, he did have 140 yards, but when it came down to the wire, when they had to make the plays that counted in the passing game, there were a couple of turnovers. I know when I was watching the TV, I did see where Christian Ponder was in the end zone. He got hit, stripped for the ball. The Dallas Cowboys got the touchdown off of that. All in all, the Cowboys won. But going up against us, we are going to have to shut down Adrian Peterson. Now, Christian Ponder, he's going to be behind center at quarterback. He's not going to have Kyle Rudolph to throw to as big tight end because he's got a foot injury. He's still going to have Greg Jennings, came over from the Green Bay Packers. Good receiver, runs really good routes. And I forgot the name, Jerome Simpson. I can't remember the name of the other wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings. I'm not all too up to speed on their roster. I know a few players, but all the same, we have to be able to shut down the run. And I think the Vikings are probably going to try a few play action plays because we know that our focus is going to be first on the run, and then we can try to make them one-dimensional. So it's all about shutting down Adrian Peterson, but it's also about whoever's going to line up across from the wide receivers. Obviously, we're going to have D'Angelo Hall and David Emerson. Emerson, he had a mediocre game. He had that turnover, but going up against Keenan Allen last week, it seemed like Keenan Allen kept finding a way to get open. So Emerson, he's really going to have to be on top of his game to shut down the guy that he's going to be across from. As far as D'Angelo Hall, he's been playing at, I would say, a Pro Bowl level. He's been breaking up passes. He's been tackling. He's been letting a lot of his plays show on the field. The one little goofy play last week that caused a penalty. But all in all, he's been playing pretty good, and I think he's going to get a chance to go to the Pro Bowl. But all in all, I hope that we're able to shut their passing game down. Christian Ponder, he can scramble out of the pocket. He's got a few rushing touchdowns, I believe. And we always have to account for him because once plays start to break down, if there's an opening, he's going to tuck the ball and run. Now, switching over to our offense, the Vikings, they have a really pretty decent running defense. So they were able to hold DeMarco Murray for short yardage, I would say, and they're ranked pretty high. I believe they're ranked 9th in the NFL against the run. So it's going to be tough running for us, but we're going to have to commit to the run. When we can take that pressure off the offensive linemen, it's going to help Robert Griffin III. So feeding the ball to Alfred Morris, that's going to be key. And it's going to cause the 8 men to come up into the box. They have a pretty decent pass defense as well. So it's going to be up for Pierre Garçon and whoever's going to be the number 2 receiver to really step their game up, get that separation, run clean routes, and also for the offensive linemen to provide enough time for Robert Griffin III to make his reads. Normally he's a one-read kind of guy. they're going to have to develop him as a quarterback so that he can make his progressions and throw to the guy that's open, because the pocket, once it collapses, he gets a little antsy, usually comes up off the ground and throws off of his back foot. If he gets hit, the ball floats, it can go into the other hand. He's got a lot more turnovers this season than he did last season, so he's under a lot of scrutiny for that. But quarterbacks are going to commit turnovers. That's a given. No quarterback is perfect. Pretty much every starting quarterback has thrown an interception, some more than others. Hopefully we can have one game where we have very few, if no, turnovers, and that's going to help our cause. We're going to be playing at their stadium, so it's going to be loud. We're going to have a solid game. Hopefully Will Montgomery and Chris Chester will not cause any holding penalties. They're notorious for that. Trent Williams, I think he's going to do a good job going up against Jared Allen. And then on the other side, we're going to have to make sure that we shore that up. But also just getting Jordan Reed involved. I say his name every week. The Vikings, they've got pretty good linebacking core. So it's going to be tight coverage on him. But I think he's going to win a lot of one-on-one matchups. He's starting to develop into a very good route runner. He's got pretty solid hands. So I think he's going to cause a lot of mismatch problems. Also, of course, as I always say, get Griffin out of the pocket. It's the most important thing. Roll him out, some bootlegs, some read option plays, but anything to keep him from being a stationary target, because once again, people are always talking about how he's getting hit too often, how he needs to be careful. As a quarterback, he's going to get hit, but at the same time, we're going to have to get him out of the pocket because that's going to keep the defense off balance. I am a strong believer in that, and some will disagree with that. I'm no football guru, but from my observation over the past couple of weeks, especially last season, teams had a hard time accounting for him, didn't really have the respect. It's not going to be the same as last season. I don't think he's going to get a 76-yard touchdown run. It'd be nice for him to get a rushing touchdown. That's something that he hasn't done. But at the same time, committing to a strong running game, get that defense tired. And, of course, once that occurs, they're going to start to break down. They're going to start making mistakes. We're going to start making big plays. But it's going to be a collective effort for every one of the skill players, the slot receivers, the flankers, get the tight ends, the running backs, the fullback. Hopefully, we'll be able to get Darrell Young. They, of course, are always going to count for him. But in the short yardage situations to where we need that first down, hopefully he will be able to come through for us like he did the last game. We need to be able to convert on third downs. The more we can convert, the better our opportunities are to score. I would like for us to get touchdowns, but I'll settle for threes. All in all, I would like to have a game to where we don't start off trailing, because we've trailed about 64%. That's what the statistics showed most of the time this season, to where we trailed. But once we get a lead, I just hope they don't turn all too conservative, because I do believe we need to drive it down the throat, continue to score, because once we get conservative, or hopefully if Kyle Shanahan calls a good game, then people will start looking at us seriously. I'm not expecting us to necessarily have that same kind of run we had last season, but it would be nice to have a good game plan in place so that we can at least rise up the ladder in the rankings for the NFC East. Hopefully make it to the playoffs. If anything, I'd just like to knock the bitch-ass Cowboys out of first place. But that's between us and the Eagles. So who knows? I'm not all too committed to Chip Kelly's offense. Nick Foles, he had a hell of a game last week. He really had the Raiders' defense discombobulated. Riley Cooper, he went off. I'm not going to sit there and talk about the Eagles. Like I said, we'll have to talk about that when it's our time to meet them on our next game. But overall, that is just my assessment of how to beat the Minnesota Vikings. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to come down to the wire. We all hate those close games, but it would be nice if we can win in convincing fashion. Anyway, if you like this video, hope that you like, subscribe, and share. Go ahead and hit that like button, please, for my Redskins supporters. And to my Redskins family, hail to the Redskins.